some people from YouTube actually came over, and it got a little bit of spicy at the moment. So I'm told I'm not allowed to allow people to come on at random and talk unless they request permission first. So I apologize to anyone who watched that. Also, at the last minute, as we were closing the broadcast, our house internet crashed, and people might have been left with StreamYard in frozen mode. I had to go in from my phone and shut it down. So I apologize to anybody who got confused as to when the broadcast actually ended last night. And with that, good morning, Mr. Ray.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. How was your broadcast last night?
It was great. It was great. I want to thank everybody for tuning in on the live broadcast. I think right now we've hit 213. So for an unscheduled night, that was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
They changed recently the way they calculate a live view. I guess they now call it a play. And what it did for small broadcasters like me is it basically triples and quadruples the number of views we get. And I don't know if that's what they hoped would happen, but it certainly has done that for us, and I hope everybody else is getting the same activity. But I'm curious about what you talked about last night, because I know you only gave me bits and teases, and I do apologize, but I was asleep. I was ready to be asleep by the time you came on. And I will, like I said, immediately after the broadcast, I will watch and I will make sure it's shared in all of our groups. You're pretty good at doing that, but tell us about it. What did you? Or, I mean, I know what you discussed, but tell us in more detail what you talked about last night.
Oh, I don't have my notes in front of me. We covered a plethora of different topics. I'm just getting these links sent out.
Yep.
Basically, It was, the same old things. America's frustration. Me just reminding Patriots that, in the underlining picture of everything, we are winning. And things of that nature. Okay, we're good to go. Facebook is up and running with the lab.
Good.
Okay.
I do want to remind everybody watching on the Patriots Lab and Patriots Lab Uncensored platforms, there is a message for you on the screen, and please take that to heart and do that. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And it's not on the screen anymore.
But we got Hunter in court today. That
I missed that completely. I thought it wouldn't come up until after the election, but I'm going to have to. Is it open? Are cameras in the courtroom? Will we be able to watch it?
No. There's no cameras in the courtroom for these cases, the Trump case and the Hunter case. It's just obvious and deliberate that what they're doing. They don't want no cameras in the courtroom because they don't want America to be able to draw their own conclusions with what they see and hear. They want to be able to continue to push the narrative as they see fit, and that's all it is. But it's funny because I'm watching the news this morning, and all of a sudden, I guess Biden had an interview with CNN or somebody, and he talked about how Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to prolong the war so he can stay in power as president. It's funny.
I don't know if I would agree with him doing so. I mean, I've supported him. I'm being Jewish. It has nothing to do with it. I've just supported him being prime minister as long as he has been. But anything to prolong that war to me is just, it's not doing anybody any good. They all really need to sit down at the table, maybe even go back to Golda Meir time when she was prime minister. They all need to just sit down at the table with a bunch of loaves of challah and some good Concord grape wine from Manischewitz to just sit down and get it all talked out once and for all.
See, I go a totally different way, because when it comes to Biden, you have to pay attention to what these people say.
Yeah.
They do nothing but project what they do onto others. So when I heard Joe Biden say Benjamin Netanyahu is prolonging the war to try to stay in power, I'm thinking to myself, Joe Biden, what are you going to do to try to stay in power? What are you going to do? What are you going to get us into?
I actually think, and I put it on the marquee for today's broadcast, that he is still in the mind frame that because of the guilty verdict, Judge Merchan is going to sentence him to prison next month, and he's not going to be able to run. And I only say that because I think Joe Biden is still living in this fantasy land of thinking that everything that happened in the Trump presidency, 2016 to 2020, has happened now in Biden's presidency, 2020 to 2024, and has no idea where reality really is.
First, we have to stick with the actual and factual. Donald Trump is not going to jail. One, is a thing called bail.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, there's a thing called appeal. Number three, there's a thing called a what do you call it? It's called a judgment, a guideline system for first-time offenders. So can we please eliminate the talk of Donald Trump going to jail? I deal with the actual and factual, and that's a fantasy. That is delusional. Donald Trump will never see the inside of the jail cell because there are too many variables to make sure that he never sees that. So to get back to the actual and factual,
saying, but I think Biden's puppet string pullers think that Biden has to see whether or not they use AI technology and produce it. Biden has to see on TV that President Trump is actually sitting in a jail cell, because if and when Joe Biden understands the actual and factual that Donald Trump is not going to go to prison, he's going to run in this election. Everybody pretty much is predicting that he's going to win this election. And the actual and factual, as far as I'm concerned, is the Trump website. The main Trump website for collecting donations crashed within an hour of the verdict being announced. When it came back up, they had raised something like $55 million, and that's why it crashed. It couldn't handle all of those people donating their $5, $100, $1 million.
He's raised over $200. He's raised over $250 million so far.
Right. So I don't think financing the campaign is going to be a problem in the remaining months if you're looking at a war chest that already had millions of dollars in it, and you just threw in 250 more million. Plus, I didn't say it last night, but I was thinking it. He's actually a very humble man. There are clips from his rallies where people try to make him think he is the most important man on earth. And he will say, there is someone more important than me, and then acknowledge Jesus.
It's
who is
not
probably correcting, I didn't mean to use the word correcting, is probably directing the Trump campaign and making sure it is the success that it's going to be.
well, it's not that difficult. The only thing
Right.
people have to do is just remember. People have always known that Donald Trump is authentic. Whether you
Right.
like him or don't like him, you're going to get what you get with Donald Trump. And that's what people respected about Donald Trump. That's why he was always hailed as a great person in New York City, because people loved his attitude. People loved his arrogance and the way he carried himself as an alpha dog. People loved that shit about Donald Trump. Now it's just getting them to remember, which is very easy. It ain't like they never had a taste.
Right.
Ain't like they never had a taste.
Yep. I also did want to acknowledge that Jen Woodruff could not be with us this morning. She had some appointments, and apologize for that. She never has to apologize, but I'm sad that she's not with us this morning, but she'll be with us on another
Good
broadcast
morning,
in the future,
Verena.
and we'll all have fun. Want to say good morning to Dr. David Novar, computer technician, and throw out the usual sponsorship announcement that if you have questions about computer technology, you're looking at different computers, David Novar is a good person to talk to. He will do his best to guide you through. He will make suggestions on things that you might want to add to your computers. And if you go through him, then money is involved to get the stuff. He will talk to you as you input them into your computer yourself. Even if you have no knowledge, he will talk you through it. He's done this for friends of mine. Sometimes there's a fee involved in that. Sometimes there isn't. He's really a good guy. If he doesn't need to charge you, he won't. So if you need some help, talk to Dr. Dave Novar, computer technician. He helps me, even though I usually disagree with a lot of what he tells me, only because I don't want to spend money that I know I have to spend. But anyway, on that note, we go back to our testimony already in progress. And I think you're right, Ray. I don't think that President Trump is going to see any jail time during the appeal process. I think, and I include the appeal process getting up to the Supreme Court. This whole thing with a gag order bothers me because President Trump has been very vocal about.
It's not even going to the Supreme Court. The appellate court didn't want to touch it. The appellate court didn't want to touch it in the beginning.
Right. Okay.
So they're going to throw it right to the appellate court, and the appellate court's going to make the same decision that they made the first time because nothing has changed. The statute of limitation they figured out has passed. Nobody wanted to touch it, but for some reason, Alan Bragg got a wild hair up his ass and decided he wanted to campaign on the fact that he was going to go after Donald Trump. Now, can you imagine anything else, any other scenario taking place in America where somebody says they're going to set out to do something? Isn't that called premeditated? Isn't that premeditated? That's premeditated. Well, so what they've done is premeditated.
It is premeditated, and at the least, I think the Democrats completely missed the step where Justice Merchan should have had to recuse himself because he was very vocal and adamant that before this thing even got into his courtroom for any part of the trial, that President Trump was 100% guilty. You can't have a judge do that. It's not the judge's role to make a decision or announce a decision before it's ever gotten into or even started in their courtroom, and usually in most cases where that happens, a justice or a judge is required to recuse themselves. Also, we have allegations of Justice Merchan's daughter having activities with Democrats, taking money from Democrats that could taint Justice Merchan being in this case. And that's another thing, that if this whole thing was flipped and it was Republicans and a Republican judge and jury goes after a Democrat, they would have begged by now to make sure that our judge was recused, if not begged that the whole thing was dismissed. I do want to ask you a question. I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is, but is there any chance that just because Justice Merchan got a guilty verdict from his jury, that on the 11th, he just opens up his eyes and says, you know what, I got a guilty verdict. It's going to haunt Donald Trump for the rest of his life. I'm not penalizing, I'm not sending him to prison. I'm not putting him on probation. I'm not putting him under house arrest. I'm giving him back his $500 million in property and other assets that he put up for jail with interest. I just want this whole thing to go away. Is there any chance that that could happen?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
He's going to sentence him, but it doesn't matter what the sentence is.
Right.
You know, as
right.
The Rock says, it doesn't matter. So
you're right.
You know, everything. I'm trying to find the right words.
Everything happens for a reason. Go ahead.
Everything is in life has already been written by God. God has already wrote the story.
Yep.
What they've meant to serve for bad, from the beginning, he has let it turn out to be for good for Donald Trump. You know, there's what does it say? No weapon formed against you shall prosper. And if you are a believer, a true believer, in which I believe Donald Trump is, I believe Donald Trump talks to his creator and believes the words of his creator. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. What they have meant for evil, I have for good for you. So he can walk with his head held up high. Same thing, same reason I can walk around with my head held up high, laughing at all these clowns out here, thinking they've gotten one over on America. It's all a dog and pony show.
Yeah. If you look at this from the creationist point of view, which I tend to look at and embrace sometimes, that God created all of this. He wrote all of the scripts, casted all of the characters, and then hit his start button, and the earth happened. It's just a matter of time before this incarnation of the earth dies and we all go on to our just rewards. Do you think God handpicked Donald Trump to go through this for us? Because, like I said in the green room, he's very humble in the saying when he's talking to crowds at rallies, and they try to make him think he is the most important man of all time. And he always points up and says, no, there's someone more important than me. And he acknowledges God and he acknowledges Jesus. And, you know, I think that a man that is that religious and acknowledges his creator and son of his creator uh, in a role that is guiding him through what he thinks he needs to do is very important.
Listen, listen, Linda. Listen, Linda. Y'all know I love to say that. You know, I always try to bring some deep shit to the conversation. And
Okay.
you know, this is a funny thing. People owe there's one thing in life that's the actual and factual. One day you'll be born, one day you'll die. People, for some reason, want to stay away from God and want to stay away from the word until they need it, until it needs to be a necessity for a situation in their life.
Yeah.
This is for the believers out there. Because if you truly believe, you'll understand what I'm about to tell you. If God, since the beginning of time, who is the same yesterday, today, and forever, that God, if that God can choose people way back in the day, Moses, Abraham, Jacob, if that same God can choose and pick people to fulfill his, fulfill his whatever, his whatever word you want to fulfill his man kindness or whatever. If he can pick people back then for certain jobs to take care of, why can't he pick people today?
Oh, I'm
He's the
sure he
same.
can.
He's the same God. So, are we gonna have to look back 200 years from now and say, like God picked Moses, God chose Trump? I'm fast winding 200 years.
Yeah.
Like we look back today and say, wow, God chose Moses to do this and chose Abraham to do. Are we gonna sit back and say, wow, in 4025, are they gonna say, wow, back in 2024, God chose Trump to lead his people? To see, people don't think about stuff like that. Because God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So if he did it then, why can't he do it now? See, we just don't see it because we're living in it. See, it's
Mhm.
hard to recognize something when you're inside the box. See, but you got to be able to step outside the box to be able to observe what's taking place inside the box.
Okay. What I hope is that people learn from this lesson in history because, as we always say, if you don't learn from history, you are doomed to repeat it. And I hope what has happened in the 2024 presidential election is never repeated in any presidential election.
And that's what I love about Donald Trump.
So,
You see, because Donald Trump doesn't sit up there and say, this is all about me, 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 me. He says this shouldn't happen to
right,
anybody.
right.
See, once you have learned to 1000% wipe out the mainstream media and all the other bullshit and just get on the narrow focused lane of with Trump. See, Trump is narrow focused. He's just focusing on one thing right now. And once you can just leave all of the outside noise alone and know that that shit is totally irrelevant, then you can get into a place where you can just focus on just being a true and loyal warrior. You don't think about the what ifs. You don't think about the hypotheticals. You think about what's going to happen. It's like a coach. When you're in a huddle, you telling your team what you're gonna go out there and do. You're not going out there and tell them to be complacent and react. No, you got to be at the forefront. So that's why I don't have time for all of the fair weather patriots.
Right?
They're a great patriot when everything is good, and then as soon as something goes bad, then they don't want to be a patriot no more. Come on, man. We can't do that. We got to fight this fight strong from beginning to end.
When tough gets going, the going gets tough.
That's
The
it.
goers, the goers get tough. It is
That's it.
time. It is time. It is time to fight back. Will there be if Trump is not victorious? Will there be a civil war? If Joe Biden is not elected, will there be a civil war? I want to say I don't think so, only because I think people are smarter than that. I just don't think it will be. I don't think it will be necessary. Uh, but then again, I could be proven wrong. I don't
We
hear a lot of my militia friends aren't saying they're getting their guns ready and they're gonna,
they're not supposed to.
you know,
They've been ready. They've been ready for they've been ready for years.
right. But
So,
most of them, right. But most of them are saying they are ready to protect their homes, their property, their families.
listen,
But are they going to start walking down the street,
like I
taking
said
out every
before,
Democrat they see? No, it doesn't sound like they're getting to that
no,
point.
they're not going to do that. That's not what it's about. It's about
Right,
being strategic and being prepared for what comes. It's not about initiating nothing. It's just about being ready and capable and prepared for what comes. And it's sad to say we haven't seen the worst of it yet. We
right.
we we, we haven't seen the worst of it. Just imagine riding towards a storm. We have we have just now hit the high winds. We haven't even hit the eye, and we got to get through the eye to get to the other side. So we have just now started to bump against the storm, and we're starting to feel the ripple effect of the high winds. We haven't even touched the eye of the storm yet. So brace yourself. Brace yourself. Um, we're in round 12 of a 15 round heavyweight bout, and Donald Trump's getting hit below the belt the whole fight. The ref ain't been calling it. Um, you know, so we're in no man's land. Like I said on your show yesterday, when you're in uncharted waters, the only thing you can do is prepare for the worst and, and,
Yeah,
and pray and hope for the best, because these people are not just going to give up because we've decided that they're busted, and we want them to relinquish power. It
yeah.
it doesn't happen quite that easily. So we're gonna see. That's the only thing we can do is sit back, relax, strap on your seatbelt. You never been on a ride like this before.
And even after he's back in the White House, you don't think the Democrats are just going to throw their hands up and go, "Okay, this is enough. We're just not going to. We're not going to do anything anymore." You don't think that they will immediately go back into impeach mode like they were during the first 4 years, where they'll be looking for something to impeach him on, and it's not just going to go away
Look,
right then and there.
people are so focused on Trump in this situation. They aren't even focused on the primaries that are taking place. The Democrats are, I believe, and I'll keep this in my own opinion, they're done. They're done. You know, when you can't trust anybody anymore, you don't trust their cousins, you don't trust their brothers, their sisters. If you don't let them in your house, you ain't letting none of them other people in your house either. You just, they're about to clean house. They are about to clean house. And the Democrats, unfortunately, really aren't going to have a say so in their downfall. That's the wonderful thing about all of this. Donald Trump's going to have a say so. The Democrats, they're not going to have a pot to piss in, because you know why? It doesn't matter why. They're
It
guilty.
really does.
They're all
Yep.
guilty. They're guilty of all the corruptness that they're trying to perceive onto Donald Trump, and they know it. Donald Trump is the only one that has the ace up his sleeve, which is the Supreme Court. The only thing the Democrats got up their sleeve is a damn needle with some suicide fluid in it, and they're getting ready to jab themselves in the main vein.
Or they've already taken a jab of some kind of vaccine that's going to probably do that for them. Some kind of time delay thing.
But you know, it is what it is. We just got to navigate and work our way through it. And you know, Biden's in trouble when every time you turn around, all of the mainstream media outlets are trying to get all of the black people to go out and support Biden, and they can't get none. They cannot get anybody to go out and support Joe Biden. They're begging people.
They can't get anybody to go out. White, black, orange, green, purple, it doesn't matter. They can't get any American to go out and support him.
Everything is backfiring.
The lives change from one press conference to another. You know, I graduated at the top of my class. I graduated in this. I played pro football. I've won more Super Bowl rings than anybody else. You know, I mean, come on.
The shows that I used to watch, that I tune into now just to see the shit that they're talking about Donald Trump, I am thoroughly shocked with, as they are too, because if they knew what they was going to get, they wouldn't be booking these shows. People are fed up.
Yeah.
Bill Maher had Killer Mike on his show the other night. And I'm going to be showing that clip tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Killer Mike is one of the biggest voices in the black community. And Bill Maher was like, "Are you going to vote for Biden?" And Killer Mike was like, "No." He was like, "Well, why?" He was like, "Are you going to get your people, supporters, to go out there?" He said, "If Joe Biden can secure the border, address black issues, and let black men know that just because they don't vote for him, they still black and all this shit." Bro, people done. People are done.
Yeah.
People are done. And you know what I love about it? They're not voting for Biden. I don't care who you don't vote. I don't care. Don't vote for Trump. I don't care. But I do know they're not voting for Biden.
Just don't vote for Biden. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I guess you could honestly say, if you're not going to vote for Trump, at least don't vote for Biden. Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly were on her show recently, and she just kept, she wiped the floor with me every time he opened his mouth. And this kid that is on, I call him a kid because he's probably half my age, that is on The View, that obviously is a Republican and obviously is a Trump supporter, he does not back down. He does not back down. He just does not back down to Whoopi Goldberg or Joy Behar or any of the other windbags on that broadcast. He does not back down. I'm surprised they even have him on, considering the show is so obviously Democrat controlled that if you were a good Republican media type, you wouldn't really want to be on that show. But anyway.
But through it all, we have, and when I say we, I say America. America has seen some tough days, but this right here, this shit right here has to be one of the toughest times in the history of America. Really, because
it is.
When I wish I could go and talk to my forefathers back then, and I even understand. Well, you probably can't make that comparison, so I won't even make that comparison.
I wish you and our forefathers were in a camper driving around the country, going out, shaking hands, and talking to people, and letting our forefathers remind them of what they created this country for, and you just getting them to embrace the actual and factual that it's not that this is over. It's just that we're kind of confused and people don't know where to go.
Right. They don't know what to do. A lot of people don't know what to do.
Right.
But what they do know, they need to stand up and fight. You see, people are looking for direction.
They are.
See, I think they're at the point where they're looking for direction. And the only direction I can give them is to tell them to stand united. You ain't got to stand by yourself. That's the first step. Surround yourself with like-minded patriots. Surround yourself with a great patriot community, and just fall in line. Just fall in line. Be yourself. Voice your opinion. Become an asset and not a liability. And together we'll be able to move this country forward. I've always told people America goes in the direction Americans navigate her and take her. Right now, we have a portion of America that, for some godforsaken reason, wants to see her fail. But on the other hand, thank God we got enough brave American soldiers that say, "I be damned."
Yep.
That's it.
I'll be damned. I'm not gonna let America slip. I'm not gonna let them think America has fallen. And I think those people are out there. Like I just said, I think they're confused. They don't know where to go to get the information that they want. You can't get it on Google because it's censored. You can't get it on Facebook because they censor who you can see. You can't even get it on other social media networks. They all censored it.
You know what I noticed though?
Go ahead.
I think a lot of patriots, a lot of people out there aren't used to having to fight.
You're 100% right there.
We got to stand back in the hood. You got too many punk ass bitches out there to be quite actual and factual.
But you also have a lot of 62-year-old people like me who had to fill out that selective service form. I forget how old I was, but I had to fill it out and send it back. And the whole time, it wasn't not wanting to defend our country. It was just me going, God, I hope I don't ever have to go to war because I'll be a liability for for my fellow soldiers, you know, and just hope that it never gets to that point. And fortunately for me, it did. But unfortunately, the way my life turned out anyway, I wouldn't have been drafted. I would have done something else, but I would not have been drafted in the sense of the front line. But
Right.
you know, so yeah, and now you have, like I think you started to say, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, and they're kids when they become adults at 21 who really have no idea. You know, they don't hear enough from the Bill Bucklers of the world and the others like Bill or like you. You served, and you're younger than I am. I'm 62. I don't. Or are you older than me?
Really? Really?
I can never remember who was older and who was younger.
I'm in my 50. I'm in my early 50s.
Fine, you're in your early 50s.
Mid
But
50s.
you did serve your country.
Yes, sir.
And in the 12-year difference between you and I, you grew up in a time where that was the right thing to do. You served your country for, I don't know, as long as you wanted to, or at least one term. Now we don't give kids an ultimatum of you either, you don't want to pay back your student loans, that's fine. Go to Iraq or go somewhere, go into the military and serve. I don't know how many years, so I'm not going to get into that discussion. Go into the military and serve time in the military. And okay, you might not have to pay back your student loans if you want to look at that.
Well, yeah, they give you the GI Bill.
But do something right. And then when you get back, well, that's what I was going to go to next. We'll forgive your student loans if you go and you serve in the military. When you come back, you got the GI Bill, one of the most fantastic means of funding education. And continue your education as long as you can. When I was in college, we had people in the broadcasting class that were in their 80s, mid 80s. I think we had one guy who was in his 90s, and I don't know if he served in the military. I know he worked in different industries for a long time, but
right.
You're never too young to learn. That's what the 90-year-old guy used to tell me. You are never too young to learn. There's always something to learn to better yourself, and maybe better those around you as well. So, but you're right. We don't have kids going into the military and learning that, and maybe that's why too many of them are dancing around going, I'm a cat today. I'm a boy who's going to become a girl. I'm a girl who's going to become a boy. They're all confused about things that they shouldn't be confused about. Other broadcasters who I love and respect dearly, you probably said it yourself. They come out of high school and they don't have basic knowledge that we had when we were in high school. I mean, we learned how to balance a checkbook. We learned how to use a computer. We learned how to, I learned how to bake. Cakes. It didn't matter, but I mean, we learned how to learn things. We learned how to change a tire. I have a problem. I'll be a AAA member for life because physically I can't lift a tire. It's just too heavy for me. But I know how to do it if I had to. Change a tire. I learned that a pair of nylons, always keep a pair when legs, the little egg-shaped container of pantyhose were out. Someone taught me how if your fan belt breaks, if your power steering belt breaks, you can tie that around. And well, if your fan belt breaks, you can tie that around and you can use that. Generally, you get about 50 miles out of it and get you off the highway safe somewhere. But I mean, it was a auto shop teacher who taught me that. because he taught driving zen. But you know, and you can't come back to me and say, well, our kids don't need to learn how to work a checkbook now because they use a debit card. But can they reconcile their statement? Can they pull their debit card out from this bank and understand what bills got paid and know what bills still have to get paid? We're not teaching them simple, basic, everyday things that they need to know. And it's sad. And we talk about that with Jen Woodruff when she's on. The difference between homeschooling and sitting in a classroom in an indoctrination center all day. But and then we sit here and we drink coffee and talk about what we're not doing and try to get us to where we're doing what we need doing. I do appreciate that you are here, William. I really do.
Yes, like I said, I love being able to come on your show and have opportunity, and be able to discuss the actual and factual and just see what the latest is on the news. And like I said earlier, it's good to be around like-minded people. Iron sharpens iron, and we just gotta we gotta hold the line. I know we've been saying that a long time. Hold the line. This line is pretty strong if it's still being held.
It's pretty strong, but it's getting tattered around the edges. I don't think it's going to break anytime soon. And I think people are starting to see that. And you want to just say one more day, one more thought. Focus on where we were. That's what I love about President Trump. Do you have to take that?
Nope.
Okay. That's what I love about President Trump. It's just remember how it was when I was sitting in the White House, when I was traveling the world, when I was talking to these people around the world. It may not be any better than it was back then, but getting back to where that was and moving forward from that point as opposed to moving downhill like we did so fast in the last 3-4 years has got to be crazy. I mean, for people to see. It's like Jen said yesterday, Biden wants to price gas so high that you'll never be able to afford gas for your car. But then by the same token, he wants you to take all your pennies and every penny you can borrow and buy an electric car, which makes no sense to me at all. But I've always felt that Detroit and the oil companies have been in cahoots about gas mileage because ultimately the oil companies don't want you to have a car that gets 100 miles a gallon and has a 20-gallon tank and will go 2,000 miles between fill-ups because that cuts into their profit margin. But by the same token, the smart people are telling you don't go buy an electric car that says you're going to get 436 miles per charge when the reality is that you're only getting 236 miles per charge. And when that charge runs out, you're nowhere near a charging station. The funniest videos I have seen are Teslas where a driver will get on the highway because Tesla built into their GPS system where all of the Tesla charging stations are. And this guy had gone out driving one day and he got to where it was time to charge. The light came on. Something told him that it was time to charge. So he pulled off at the next station like it said. And at the top of the ramp, he died. And he was literally 500 feet away from a Tesla charging station. And he had to call a tow truck and have them come and tow him down the ramp and across the street. So, I mean, it's absolutely just a stupid thing to me. Matter of fact, Hertz, who had a large fleet of Teslas, made a decision a few months ago that they are going to sell them off. They're not going to rent them anymore. I guess I don't know if they're having problems with people running out of charge or whatever, but they're just not gonna rent them anymore.
Right.
But by the same token, I don't want anybody to think that I'm telling you don't buy an electric car because you shouldn't buy an electric car. If you want an electric car, go buy an electric car. If you want an electric Rolls Royce, go buy an electric Rolls Royce. You want an electric Ford F-650, the largest pickup truck they make, go buy one. I mean, you're an American, you earn your money, you deserve to go buy whatever it is that you want. Just understand that the way they have stacked the deck against you, the electric grid in our country can't handle it. But if you want one, go buy one.
Right.
So it's hard for me to sit here and tell people, no, you shouldn't buy this, no, you shouldn't buy that, because for 40 years I worked in the limousine industry, and for 32 years of it, those owners bought whatever they wanted. In the last 8, I bought whatever I wanted. So it's hard to tell my friends, don't go buy that beautiful electric Tesla for $125,000 that you've always wanted. Go buy it, but just make sure that in your decision to buy it, you've made an informed decision. Make sure on the routes, the places that you drive every day, make sure there are hopefully 24-hour charging stations. So if something happens, you can get to one. And if you can't, make sure there's a AAA tow truck around to get you to wherever you may need to be. And it's easy for me to talk about telling people, go buy this, go buy that, don't buy this, don't buy that, because I don't have a driver's license anymore.
Right.
So, I don't drive anymore. I have to be driven everywhere I go. So I'm at the mercy of who's ever driving me or whatever they have. And if someone shows up with a Tesla, I'm going to get into it. I got to get to wherever it is. I got to get into wherever I'm going. I do want to, just for the hell of it, so I can say I've done it, find a friend that has bought a Tesla tractor for trucking and get a chance to ride in it, just so I can say that I've ridden in one. Same thing with people that, if I found anyone that I knew that bought a Tesla truck, the Tesla, what do they call it? The Cybertruck. I personally think it's the most butt ugly thing I've ever seen. I wouldn't buy one, but I do want to ride in one. But anyway, like I said, you got to do what is right for you. William has to do what he thinks is right for him, and then we have to unite as a country and do what is right for all of us. That is very good information. It is coming up on 11 o'clock. We're going to pull the plug at 11 o'clock. So, William, any last testimony you want to give in the last 3 minutes?
No, like always, we got to ride it out. It's almost over. Appreciate the opportunity once again to be able to come on your platform and just keep spreading the word, man. Keep hope alive. I know Barack Obama.
Do you have any 9 o'clock broadcast scheduled? Or you just don't know yet?
Oh, tonight, Wednesday. Yeah, I got a regularly scheduled podcast.
Okay.
Last night was a pop up. So
a special report.
Yeah, just a special report. So I'll go in here and do my due diligence and try not to get an ulcer watching the news. And come back with the actual infection.
Don't burn out on caffeinated. Don't burn out on caffeinated coffee. Understand that sometimes you just have to get up and walk away from the media. I mean, I even find with media sources that I trust and I read every day. Sometimes I just have to unplug and stay away from them. But anything else? Did you say 10 o'clock or did you say 9 o'clock today?
9. But I might do a morning. I might do a morning coffee myself. I'm kind of bored this morning. So.
Okay. All right. So keep an eye on your Facebook notifications. make sure you're a friend of William so that when he goes live, you know that he's going live and you can watch the actual with him. Let's see, tomorrow night is Thursday night, 7 p.m. We're live. William, you're welcome to join us. The links go out at 6:45. And you, William, come on anytime you want. If you get the standard memo that says, here's the link, please be in the studio at 6:55. You come into the studio anytime you want before 8:30. If you come into the studio at 8:30, you might not even be able to get into the studio because we're usually done by then. But that's the actual factual.
Appreciate
it. Send you the link. We'll send you the link, and you pop in anytime after 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Thank you, sir. You do the same.
All right.
If you can stay awake past 9 o'clock sometimes.
It's a combination. It's a combination of morning meds, midday meds, and evening meds, and in all honesty, too many meds. So I never know when I'm going to stay awake and when I'm going to fall asleep.
Well, you make sure you keep taking your meds. Thank you very much once again, and have a great day.
Meds. All right, Ray. Always a pleasure. William Rayfield from the Patriots Lab Uncensored Tour. You are his friend. That way you'll know when he pops up live. And when he's on the Boogie with the Bull broadcast, we'll always try to pressure him to let you know the next one. Tonight, 9 o'clock again. 10 o'clock possibly. Make sure you're there. It's always a pleasure to have him linked to us. If you are a StreamYard conservative patriot, or whatever you want to call yourself, broadcaster, and use StreamYard, you're more than welcome to link to a Boogie with the Bull broadcast and link us to you, and we will link us to you when you do it. One of these nights, what I really want to do is find as many StreamYard conservative patriot, MAGA, whatever you want to call yourself, type Trump supporter broadcast. Link us all together one night and just see what we can do. Because if we all link ourselves together, we all have different destinations, meaning where we are all live at the same time. And I'm not saying we could blow out the internet or short circuit it, but it'd be very interesting to see where we could be. It's always been my goal also that in the event of a national emergency, as long as we still have cable or internet access and electricity, that we could link our broadcasts together and help with that. But anyway, this is the time of the program where I tell you have been watching Boogie with the Bull Wednesday Morning Caffeine, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. And if you have comments that you want to write me about, you can write me at boogiewithbull@gmail.com. That's BOOGIEWITHTHTATBULL, boogiewithbull@gmail.com. If you spam me, you will be blocked. If you write me something that needs a response, you will get a response. And last night, like I said, I did make the mistake of just allowing random people to come on to the broadcast, and I gave them all of their time rather than just popping them out as quickly as I popped them in. If you want to come on to the broadcast, you're more than welcome to message me on Messenger during a broadcast and ask me for a link, or come into the live chat and ask me for a link. If you embarrass yourself or try to embarrass me, you're going to get cut. That's just the way it is. Maybe one day we'll schedule a comical broadcast where everybody can come on and complain about each other and everybody else on social media, wherever they are. But we try to keep it at least somewhat civil, and everybody gets a chance to talk. 87 people watched Boogie with Bull Wednesday Morning Caffeine. We sent it out to 22 groups. Actually, we sent it out to 28 groups. 22 groups allowed it. As I said, some groups don't allow Boogie with the Bull to be posted in their group because they don't allow anybody's broadcast to be posted in their group. But fortunately, some of them still allow us to put the promo up for a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, and we appreciate that just as much. If any of my conservative, patriot, MAGA, Trump supporter, group owners, or admins want to come on and join a broadcast, you are more than welcome to do that. What we ask on the 10 o'clock broadcast on Monday and Wednesday is that you let me know by 9 o'clock so that I can factor everybody who wants to be in, because we only have 8 camera slots with me and 7 others, and factor all of us in that want to be on. So Monday and Wednesday, 10 o'clock, let me know by 9 o'clock Eastern time if you want to be on. And Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m., let me know by 6 o'clock if you want to be on, and we will factor you in to the broadcast. I want everybody to be on the panel. When I created this 5 years ago, my goal was to have a platform that anybody, a member of Facebook, a member of X, a member of YouTube, a broadcaster on all of those platforms, as well as any others that they're on, could come here and we could all just talk about what's going on in America, what we think needs to be done, and how we think we're going to go about getting it done. Kind of like the buffer between those that don't do broadcast and might want to come on and have a little bit of fun, and those that do broadcasts want to come here and share their broadcasts as well. Anyway, it's 6 minutes after 11 o'clock. We've accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish this morning. Again, apologies that Jen Woodruff was not available to join us this morning. She had some appointments that she had to be at, and she will be on tomorrow night's Thursday Night Live. Hopefully Ray will join us. And Robert Angel Little, the author of Innocence Lost, who we've had on a couple of times going further along in the book, will be on as a panel member. Others who get invites throughout the day tomorrow, and if they want to be on, they will be more than welcome to be on. And we will be live on the Dave Gordon profile, Boogie with Bull YouTube channel, at Boogie WT Bull, at Boogie WT Bull, the Boogie with Bull X profile. We will be live there. There is no live chat on the X link on the on at Boogie WT Bull on my profile. There is no live chat, so you have to be either watching on YouTube, on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, or watching on the Dave Wilson profile here on Facebook. And I thank William Rayfield for connecting the Patriots Lab network platform all over, and appreciate everyone who watched over there. And make sure you tap that gold star when he is linked, because it's the right thing to do. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Anyway, double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is coming to an end. One more time to come down. Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast did come to an end.